Hey, welcome to Speaking of Horses. Today we're at the Horse World Expo in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for 2018. Let's catch up on all the activities in Harrisburg.
American lifestyle. It's how we work, and it's how we play. It's how we learn and how we enjoy the finer things in life. How we take care of our animals and tend to the land. It's a way of life. Has been for hundreds of years. Now there's a whole new way for rural America.
Timeless fence systems. They're non-conductive, they're self-insulating, they're maintenance-free. Beyond that, they're very easy to install. They'll last for years and years. Timeless fence systems. Check them out. And we'd like to introduce you to L&D Trailers. They're announcing their dealership featuring Equitrek horse trailers of Britain. A full line of high-quality trailers, and soon they're going to be introducing total vans, horse trailers, and comfortable quarters. Equitrek. Hey, good morning. Wayne Williams, Speaking of Horses. We're here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're at the Horse World Expo 2018. And right now my guest is Eli Zimmerman. Now, Eli is with King Barnes, and King Barnes is a longtime supporter, sponsor for Speaking of Horses, so we're glad to have you guys, number one, sponsor the show, but number two, you do some great work with Barnes. Now, Eli, I know you're in the sales and promotion now, but you've been with King a lot longer than that. Give us a brief history on, how you got involved with King Barnes and your growth through the company.
Well, I started with the company in 1990 as a 16-year-old, right off the farm, and it's something that I always had an interest in. As a little kid growing up, I always made little knickknacks in the wood shop, and it led to a job at King Construction. Didn't know one person working there at the time, but it's something I wanted to do, and I think I worked there 3 years before I was job foreman, and then I was job foreman for quite a few years, project manager for 18 years, and now I've been in sales for 4 years. So that is where I'm at now.
And King must be a great place to work, right?
You couldn't find better people to work for, absolutely.
I agree with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, 3 brothers, all 3 great people to work for. A lot of unwritten benefits that you have working with people like that.
Now, I know that you get involved in a lot of different things. The barns that you design, they're mainly all custom barns to what people need. Actually, the people can't see this, but I'm looking at your computer screen, and I don't know exactly where. Is that Devon or is that Wellington or where is it?
That is Upperville, Virginia.
Upperville, okay. But you do a lot of great custom work. Some of the barns range a huge amount of dollars to get these barns built.
Absolutely. We do the just the common barn to whatever you want. Like I said, I've done this a long time. I've never done 2 barns that are the same, probably not even close to the same. They're all done different. With all the options you have to finish the inside, the outside, all the products we carry, we make our own doors and all that. So you have so many options, and that's why you don't see one barn the same.
Right. Well, and the beautiful part of King is that it is all custom work.
Absolutely.
You come in, sit down with you or whoever your King representative is, and you sit down with them and design what you want. And you guys will do pretty much anything that somebody wants within what's feasible to actually build.
Absolutely. Whatever your needs are, if it's a 4-stall barn, 3-stall barn, if you want 45 horses, we can do it all for you.
And you've got a lot of good insight into what works and doesn't work. You can guide people through a process like that. That's a great idea, but let me tell you why that may not work in reality, right?
Right, absolutely. There's so many things. I have been a firefighter my whole career. All my years I've been with Kings, I've actually been a firefighter, captain of fire department. So I see safety things that I am probably a little bit more aware of than some people. So there's a lot of things. There's functionality of a barn. There's so many things that you got to take in consideration.
Right, right. Well, we are extremely thrilled to have King, working with Speaking of Horses, and we promote you at any turn we can, because I can't think of a company that does better work. And the times that I have been to your offices right down in there by New Holland Tractors, and it's all right there, but my wife was with me one time in there and was just really taken back by the quality of what you see in your showroom. I mean, what you guys produce there is fantastic.
Yes, if they come to the showroom, it's actually a big benefit for the customer, because they can actually see, number one, we built our office. It actually looks like a barn.
Right.
And we have pretty much all the products in the office. We have our showroom. They can go down to our wood shop. They can see how our doors are made. It's a big benefit for the customers to come to the office.
Right. Well, Eli, thank you for joining us here on Speaking of Horses.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to King Barns. Barns, located in New Holland, Pennsylvania. If you want a great custom-built barn, you got to contact kingbarns.com. All kinds of customized barns, top-grade materials, and wonderful custom design to meet your request. Please check out King Barns today. Source Nutrition. One of the fine sponsors, Source Nutrition, micronutrients developed from the seaweed harvested off the coast of Maine, aids in digestion, helps with older horses, keeps everything moving fine in your horse's digestive tract. Check out Source Nutrition. Well, one of the events at Horse World Expo was an obstacle course. Here's just a little bit of this course and some of the horses attempting to negotiate our obstacle course. Let's watch. Hey, Wayne Williams, Speaking of Horses, and we are still here in Harrisburg, joined now by Mr. Dean Hoover with King Barns. And again, we've indicated that we're really pleased to have King Barns on board with Speaking of Horses. A horse is speaking in the background as we talk on the early Saturday morning that we're actually doing this interview. But we just talked with Eli a bit ago, and Dean, you've been around in the sales part of King Barns quite a while now. Tell us what's new on the horizon. What have you been doing recently that might be a little new or upscale or little wrinkles you're putting in the program?
Well, I think one thing we're seeing is more and more customers want turnkey. They want us to do the entire project and basically serve as a general contractor. So we see more and more of that. We are dealing with more time for the design and permit phase. It seems to be taking longer and longer. So anybody that's doing a project has to understand the time involved in the entire process.
Well, I think too that people need to understand. Number one, you're located in southeast Pennsylvania, in New Holland, actually near Lancaster, not far out of Harrisburg, really. But depending on the scope of the job, you can pretty much go anywhere. If it's a big enough job and a whole large custom barn, you're not relegated to staying in one area.
I would say that's true. We have some limits. We like to say Connecticut to Virginia. I think for us to do a quality job, we have to be able to reach it in 4, 5, 6 hours. So we get requests from all over, but we try to limit and keep our resources closer to home if we can.
Well, now, this is a question I should know the answer to, but how many years has King been doing this?
This is our 40th year.
Wow,
we're trying to think about how we might celebrate that, but it is 40 years since the three King brothers started their business building agricultural buildings.
Wow. And so when you got a 40-year track record behind you, that's a pretty good track record.
It is. It really is. And I think it shows. It shows in the relationships we have, not only with our customers, but our suppliers, our vendors, and you learn a lot in 40 years. I learned a lot in 13, so that's really one of our strengths.
Yeah, and you learn a lot not only about how and what to do with barn structures, but just in how to work and guide people.
That's right.
You've got to work with people. You got to guide them. I know that in the years I was in sales, something other than barns, obviously, but people would come in and say, "I'd like to do this," and you know yourself, there's a really good reason why they're really not going to want that, and you're trying to make sure that they don't spend money for something that 6 months after they've gotten it, they're unhappy.
That's right.
That's right. And it's going to come back, as you would say, bite you, but it's going to come back. So it's how you can actually guide people through and say, our 40 years of experience proves this.
Yeah, you still have to balance that with what the customer wants. Sometimes people have design items that we have never heard of before, and it's good for us to explore, and it's good for us to let them do what they think is going to work best.
Yeah. Well, you guys do fantastic work, and I've had a lot of fun working with King Barns over the years, and your group now with Eli joining forces, kind of on the retirement of one of your long-time gentlemen who I started working with, who really seems to be enjoying retirement. I mean, So, you guys are a class act, and it's a great place to go. If you want to build a barn, you want to get guided properly, and then when you get the job done, you get a class piece of structure. You can't beat King Barns. I really appreciate all of your involvement.
Well, thanks a lot. We have a lot of great people to work with, and there's nothing better than a happy customer at the end.
And we need to do something special now this year for your 40th anniversary. We're going to work on that. 40 years.
All right. Well, if you come up with something, let us know.
I'm working on it. Dean, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
This is Wayne Williams, speaking of horses, and we're at Horse World Expo, Harrisburg with, this is Dean Hoover, and it's King Barns. Check them out. Well, one of the events every year at Horse World Expo is our Theater Equus. It's a complete package of horses under the spotlights and a theater presentation. Let's watch just a few highlights of our Theater Equus featuring Mr. Bobby Kerr and Mr. Tommy Turvey and Mr. Guy McLean. Here we go to start this right now.
Look at him, because that's his best right there, actually. So I'm going to leave him standing still, reach out to his face and say, Lightning, my dear boy, wait until you're asked again. Ozzy, I need you, man. Change sides quick, the speed, the power. Ozzy is the workaholic of my team. He loves work, this horse. He loves it. He can watch others do it all day long. He loves work. This horse here, however, he's the real worker of my team. I love the hope.
It's up to here, just...
I'm going to ask this beautiful boy here to compare him sideways between the horses. Why? Just because I can, no other reason. As I ask him to canter sideways here, watch him. Watch this horse gather up and canter backwards for you today. Look at the legend here. I'm going to canter sideways here. Watch me gather him up and canter backwards. Why do you do this? It's because of the navigation systems these days. They sometimes take you up one-way streets and you have to canter out backwards. Beautiful. You're going to come and grab them all together and let's have total respect and love that only 5 individuals can do. Thank you so much.
Riders tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, he heard you.
I'm the king of the rhythm beat. When I play the maracas, I go chick, chicky, boom, chick, chicky, boom. Yes, sir, I'm Cuban Pete. I'm the craze, I'm gonna get straight. When I try to dance, everything goes chick, chicky, boom, chick, chicky, boom.
He's a really modest guy, although he's the hottest guy in Havana, in Havana.
Si, senorita, I know that you would like a chicky, boom, chick.
family, and we only want the best for them. No standing water means clean, good tasting, algae-free, mosquito-free, and virus-free water. No risk of electric shock, no risk of fire from faulty wiring. Cool water in the summer, warm water in the winter. Water delivered fresh from the water supply at 50 degrees year-round. Drinking Post water.
And I am talking right now to Tracy Baker, and Tracy is with Equade, and it's a wonderful product. Matter of fact, I just learned about it a couple of weeks ago, and we're proud to say that they are joining the Speaking of Horses family and sponsoring. So first of all, welcome, and tell us a little bit about the history of how you got into this.
I was a veterinary technician working in southern Maryland, and one of my horses got hurt, and she grew proud flesh, and she was not able to have it surgically removed. So we went out looking for something that could take care of that for her. And in working with the veterinarians, and as I say, God on my shoulder, I looked up, did some research, and found some different minerals that really work well with changing the pH level, and it just came together really well, and we started selling it mainly through that veterinary hospital, and it worked removing proud flesh, preventing it from forming. It did not harm the healthy skin. So we started using it on more and more different animals, and now 20 years later, we're actually in our 20th year. We started this in 1998, and we're available all around the world. We ship it, we sell to a lot of veterinarians, and we love it.
Now, there's a lot of people that may not have heard of it, but you just said the key. When you started this, you started marketing through veterinarians.
Correct.
Okay, therefore, it may not have been something that the general public would have just seen unless a veterinarian recommended
Correct.
it, right?
Correct.
So when did you decide to start going out and doing a little more of this marketing?
We started, I couldn't really tell you exact year, but we were at Horse World Expo a few years ago. We were at other expos, and we were actually asked to speak at the American Association of Equine Practitioners, a large equine veterinary conference for continuing education of veterinarians, and we were discussed in one of their continuing education classes. So that really moved us to work more with the veterinarians because they were seeing most of these large wounds. We want to make sure that there's no tendon or ligament damage, any joint damage before they use our product. I don't want to go backwards in a wound for an owner. I want them to go forward and heal. So with doing that, more owners would contact us saying their vet recommended it, and so we just want to educate owners. We want to educate them on how to bandage and how to use our product. So we kind of went from the veterinarians to going back to the end user, which is the customer. This year we're really pushing for the customers.
Well, the other side of that, though, is that it's not something that you necessarily have to have the veterinarian apply.
Right.
This is something you, as a horse owner, can have in your first aid kit, your barn,
Yes.
or somewhere. Take it with you in your horse trailer when you're going to shows or trail rides.
Correct.
And if you have a wound of some kind that you need to deal with,
It's there.
it's not a veterinary applied or prescribed product per se.
Correct, that's correct. It is all natural. It's made of a proprietary blend of minerals, activated charcoal, and water. And it forms a good compound that it's safe for you to put on yourself. It's not going to damage your skin if you get it on your fingers. We do sell each jar with an applicator brush, just for safety reasons. But you're correct. It's something you want to have available immediately so that you don't form proud flesh, since it will prevent it from forming, especially on the lower limbs of horses. They're predominant with the proud flesh growth. But it can be used anywhere on the body. It stays where you put it. It forms a scab with the serum that comes out of a wound. It forms a matrix with that product, so that you have a scab. It's like a Band-Aid per se, but they don't have to worry about washing it and getting the most ointments and stuff will smear off. this stays where you put it. It's really a good product in that. It has many good uses.
And with every jar of this that you would obtain, you get a little instruction sheet, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's something that, and it is, if you've got a wound and you get to that wound quickly, you can prevent a lot of these side effects to that wound from happening because you immediately jump in and restore some cleanliness, for lack of a better word, to that wound before too much infection, dirt, bacteria get in there.
Yes, and it's antibacterial and antifungal in its natural properties. We've had it bacterial tested, and we've had it also safety and efficacy tested, so it's safe to use on deeper wounds. Even we've had veterinarians that apply it right to the bone of horses that, you know, the owner might not have gotten to that wound, wasn't aware they're at work, the horse got caught in the fence, you don't know about it till you get home from work. These things happen all the time, and so the vet might come and apply it right to the bone and say, hey, you need to do this on a daily basis, and I'll be back in a few days, and then the granulation bed starts in, but you won't get an exuberant granulation bed, which is proud flesh. You'll just have a healthy granulation bed, and it reduces the chance of deeper infection. Equate is just, it's been known that way, and it also takes care of MRSA, so horse, you don't have to worry about that happening in the
Well, and the thing that I'm looking at too is like going on trail rides, and we've gone on trail rides. I had a horse a few years ago get injured on a picket line at a trail ride. Yep. We're out in the middle of, you know, nowhere, okay? And were it not for the first aid kit and what we had in it, we would have had no way to treat the horse.
Yep.
If this is in your first aid kit and you get a pretty nasty little cut, scar, you can bandage and everything, but you could do this and really prevent a lot of other bad things from occurring.
Correct.
When you couldn't get to that veterinarian if you wanted him, right?
Correct. And you can use this under a bandage as well, so that if you had a really large wound on a trail and it's going to be hitting the dirt or the mud, you know, you're walking through mud to get back to your trail or head, you know, you can put this under a bandage. It's not going to hurt the horse.